Would you please welcome the Honorable Peter Welch, the Congressman of the great state of Vermont.
Thank you very much. It has been an extraordinary morning for Ted Poe and I to be given this tour of this sacred ground. You know, the deadliest day in the history of the state of Vermont was here. It began at home and in the fields of these tangled woods of the Battle of the Wilderness. Howard Coffin was writing when he said that about May 5th, 1864. Literally a day like none other that we've ever had in the history of the state of Vermont. Vermonters had fought bravely. We're very proud of what we did. Ethan Allen boys and his Green Mountain boys, and capturing Fort Ticonderoga, and General John Stark repulsing the British at the Battle of Bennington, and then the proud service we've had with our soldiers throughout our history, and most recently in Iraq and Afghanistan. But on that sunny morning, I guess it was in the 80s, we never saw the scale of sacrifice by Vermonters since then. It was the sort of sacrifice that just tore families apart. We were explaining that when the troops fought in the Civil War, they came from towns. They weren't from all over. So when you had losses from your state, it often wiped out the young men in a small town. Two brothers from Williston, Vermont, Sergeant Edward Holton and Private David Holton, were struck almost simultaneously. One lived and one died. 4 men from the northern Vermont hill town of Greensboro, Vermont, perished. Another 4 from Sutton, Vermont, lost their lives. And after the sun went down that day, Private Seth Eastman of the 3rd Vermont Brigade wrote, "Most of my friends lay dead or wounded, scattered in the field somewhere. I have been in the Army now more than 2 years, and supposed I knew that battle was. But I must say that I had never seen a real fight until I was in the first day of the Battle of the Wilderness." And we stand here today, 145 years later, in remarkably different times. We're here together, Peter Welch from Vermont, Ted Poe, as my friend just said, from the state of Texas, when our soldiers, our young men, fought each other to the death. Today, the two of us, as Ted said, divided by party and region, stand side by side, simply asking the question that you asked, that those who lost their lives on this site be honored with the respect that their brave lives and early deaths earned. We obviously bear no ill will against Wal-Mart. Our request to Wal-Mart is that they join us in honoring the memory of those who died here 145 years ago. My predecessor in Congress, who went on to the Senate, Senator James Jeffords, served Vermont with great distinction in the House and in the Senate, and he visited this wilderness battlefield several years ago. In understanding the history and the significance of this battle to Vermonters, Senator Jeffords fought throughout his career for the preservation of the battlefield. It was he who helped us preserve 465 acres of this site, and it was he who secured funding for the Barry Granite Monument to Vermonters that Ted Poe and I just visited, all to honor 1,234 Vermonters who died in those 2 days. Think about it, 1,234 Vermonters. In addressing a Senate college, Jeffords said the following: "Earlier this month, I was privileged to attend the dedication of a monument in Virginia, commemorating the sacrifice of more than 1,200 men of the Vermont Brigade during the Battle of the Wilderness. The tangled thickets of the 19th century have given way to mature forests. The individuals are largely forgotten, but our collective memory must endure. Today we use blocks of granite to remind us of the sacrifices in the Civil War. In its immediate aftermath, you would think no such reminder would have been needed. But unfortunately, as we stand here today, we are reminded that we do need these memories, that without our action, the places that are most sacred to our nation can too easily be forgotten, and that in order to preserve our most important human history, we must stand together and fight for it. And we took this tour this morning, and over the course of the 2 hours, walked across these battlefields where 30,000 soldiers died from Vermont, from Texas, from 18 states in the Union, all 11 states in the Confederacy. And the question that we face as a nation now, as always, is whether we will not just honor their memory. We know we have an obligation to do that, but it's not just for their memory, it's for our own future. Will we live up to the ideals that they died for? And the question for Wal-Mart, one of the world's most successful corporations, is whether they need a fifth Wal-Mart within 20 miles to be sited on this cathedral of suffering. You know, we're a bigger country than that. We have a bigger heart than that. We have a bigger soul than that. And our request to each of us and to one of our most successful corporations in the history of our country is that they join us in honoring this cathedral of suffering where 30,000 of our brave and young men and women fought so that we could have the country of freedom that we do now so enjoy. Thank you very much.